Twin.
Morning. We are setting out to the second day of EYF, and as you can hear, I don't really have much of a voice to speak of or to speak with. Loud cars, how dare they? And yes, I live about a 10-minute walk away from the venue in one of those tall buildings behind me. So, cheap Airbnb, nothing fancy there, but you know, that's what you gotta do. And yeah, I'm just gonna go to Asda and grab some food. I don't know how much you could interpret from all the random clips from yesterday, so I'm just gonna quickly sum it up. It was an awesome day. Met all the faces, and I'm going to meet more today. And I bought all the yarn, and I'm gonna buy more today. I shouldn't, but you know how it is. And what did with it? Yeah, it was funny when they had like the big knit night. It was pretty much everyone's biggest knit night ever, which I totally believe. But I never actually knitted. I just walked about and talked to people. And then when it was closing, I thought, oh, I would just hang out somewhere else. Completely neglecting to notice the fact that I was really tired. So after debating a lot, like, do we go here, do we go there? I was like, actually I should probably go home. Well, my Airbnb isn't my home. You get the idea. I'm rambling. I don't have a voice. Should probably save it. So I will see you guys on the inside if I remember to pick up a camera. So I found someone, and I'm not going to say where we are, but we're in a pretty trashy place. And I had breakfast, and we're ready to take on Edinburgh Yarn Festival Day 2. And yeah, as you can hear, my voice isn't any better. I just kind of expressed that pretty clearly. And how are you feeling?
I'm okay. First Diet Coke of the day. My voice is going a little bit too.
My drink of choice.
To my knowledge, I haven't caught Ellie's diseases, so...
Yet.
Yeah.
Working on it.
And as predicted, day 2 was by far the most extreme. I mean, day 2 of the festival. This was on the Friday, so I'd come up on Tuesday. We've gone through the knit night on Wednesday, and obviously the big day on Thursday that I just talked about. And then it was Friday, and yes, I predicted that would be the busiest day because they have extended the festival over 3 days. So as far as I'm concerned, I assumed people would maybe do 2 out of 3 days. So they do Thursday and Friday, or Friday and Saturday. So Friday is like the big hump day, the big overlap with all the people would be there. So yeah, definitely made use of my early entrance again and ran straight over to the Fibre company to spoil myself rotten. I had a big debate with myself on which colour to go for, and in the end, this like good old plum burgundy here. It's a purple more so than a burgundy, I'd argue. But yeah, this is the Tanzanite colorway on the Road to China base, which is by far one of the biggest luxury bases. You can hardly feel this yarn because it's that soft. The composition is, hang on, cashmere, camel, silk and baby alpaca. To be more detailed, 65% alpaca, 15% silk, 10% camel and 10% cashmere. I know this doesn't sound like my usual cup of tea, but I have seen and felt the Canopy shawl designed by Melody Hofman, and I really want to do some Melody Hofman knits. I have 2 shawls of her on my bucket list, and and I would have yarn for one of them. I'm pretty sure I'll be using my John Arbon Viola yarn for the other shawl I have in mind. So I'll be all Melody Hofman shawled up. I think, oh, this is so lovely. Oh my days. Okay, I need to move on, babies. I'm just gonna put you down here. Yeah. So yeah, remember this bag? No, I didn't buy another one. I'm not that mad. Pink Hazel, they really ran out of bags in the end. That was they did that last year as well, so I had anticipated it this year. But yeah, they just sold really well. But that's not why I'm showing you this bag. I'm showing it because of the content. In here we have 10 balls of the Blacker Jacob yarn, a new Blacker yarn that I reviewed in the previous episode. And there we have it. I got the deepest shade of burgundy in their DK weight yarn. It's only the DK yarns that have burgundy, and I have to get all the remaining 10 of them. So that will leave me a meterage of about 1,100 meters, which should be enough for a DK weight sweater or cardigan or something. I just don't know what to make yet. I'll figure it out. It's just a sweater quantity. I think I'm about this. No, I'm not going to confess the number, but I have a very big number of sweater quantities, more than any number of sweaters I could ever see myself owning. So I'm not sure what I'm thinking. I need to de-stash. That's what I need to do. So there it is, Blacker Jacob, their new British breed base. They have it in DK and 4-ply. I think it's lovely. Just 100% pure non-superwash wool in lovely bottle green and burgundy colours and the natural colours. And I just, yeah, it's really nice stuff. And I don't know what to make with it, but I want to wear it all over me. So had to get that. And I'm sure those of you watching who will be watching for a while know how I feel about JC Rennie. I have tried to spend my week at Edinburgh trying to solve this a mystery of who does what Supersoft base. You know, is Holst JC Rennie? Maybe not, but Garden Silk is, but they were sort of like, Holster, how can it not be the same? I was like, I keep getting confused. So in the end, I just bought JC Rennie on. So you may recognize these colors from a designer that uses different yarn. I want to do the Threipmuir by Ysolda Teague. So I feel like the blue shades are perfect, but the yellow might be a bit off, because I know the yellow used in the Threipmuir is a bit of a sort of a green yellow. And I saw the pistachio colorway they had at JC Rennie's, but I don't know. So I went with a more conventional yellow. We'll see how it works out. Yeah, we'll just try it, see what happens. It will be fine. I really want to do the Threipmuir. I want to just follow the pattern to a T. Just have a very nice big colorwork yoke. I'm gonna really try to follow the pattern, not do any modification. Wish me luck. But I really trust Ysolda's constructions on garments, so I just need to follow the rules for a change. So if you don't know, JC Rennie is 100% non-superwash wool. They call it 4-ply, but the yarn obviously has 2 plies. It has 246 meters per 50-gram ball, and it is wonderful, and I really like it. And it's soft and amazing and Scottish and I think, yeah. I don't know if their fleeces come from Scotland anymore. I would assume that there are New Zealand and Australia, but I'm not going to guarantee any of that. But I know they are one of the oldest Scottish mills, at least. So there's that. So for this little part, I think it's time to cover all the lovely stuff that people have just given me. I've been given a bunch of buttons and pins and business cards and stitch markers and mini skeins, and I'm just going to mention them all here. If I have forgotten any of the stuff that you've given me, I'm so sorry. That literally means it will be somewhere in some bag that I thought I had open and emptied. I think I will have everything included here. I'm just saying up front that there is no intention of me to forget anyone and anything. So I really have aimed to include everything. And I think I have. So first thing is a lot of buttons. Some of these buttons I had before, but a lot of them I've added to this bag because the bag looked a little bit sad. So this is just so much fun. So I just want to give you a moment to appreciate all the little, I call them buttons, some call them badges, some call them pins, I don't know. Just little buttons. And actually I forgot to talk about the project in this. I was going to mention works in progress as well. I have been putting a dent in my Knox sweater. It's not a visual And I just thought I'd show you. Intermission, Edinburgh intermission. But that's not what I was going to talk about today. I was going to talk about the stuff that people are giving me. So we'll just wait until the next episode to talk about Michelle Wong's Knock sweater. That's for the Wong along that inside number 23 string. Digression. I want to start with something really unusual that I was given. It was a candle. I felt a little bit horrible when I was given this because I was so tired. I don't know if it was like visually, I don't know if you could see it, but literally all I could say was like, could you just like put it in my bag, because I can't take them off and receive it. I really just like wanted to receive it in my hand and be like, but instead I was just, I can't right now. But I probably came across as really ungrateful, which is like load me up, but that's not really what I meant. So I just wanted to show my appreciation here while recording, because I really love this candle. It smells amazing. It says sandalwood and patchouli. I don't know what that is. I mean, I heard about it, but you know, it smells great. I hope this smell is just going to come fully fleshed out when I light it, although I don't know if I can make myself light it. But it says I Love Sky Candle Company, but it's great, and thank you so much. I thought that was really special. And how did you know I was running out of candles? It's been a long winter and I'm actually thinking I need to get myself some more candles, and all the scented candles are all burnt down, so anyway, I don't have smell-o-vision, so none of you guys can appreciate that, so I'll just be moving on. Now, lovely Anna of Dunkergrund podcast has made these soaps and lotion bars for knitters, essentially. They're like lanolin based, I believe, and she gave me a choice between her soap and her balm. And well, I have seen her podcast just before Edinburgh where she showed how to make the balm, said it was very easy, whereas the soap not so much. I still chose the balm because, I mean, if you could smell this thing, she asked me when she gave it to me, like, do you like cinnamon though? And I'm like, yes. It is cinnamon and patchouli. Apparently I like patchouli, turns out. Oh my days. And I really need it because I've been knitting so much with this really dry yarn, so my little nail things are really sore. So thank you so much, Anna. This is lovely. It smells fantastic, and I can't wait to actually try this. It might just be exactly what I need right now. And I love that the way it looks as well, because it sort of speaks to her scientific biology background, chemistry background, excuse me. And I always feel very happy when I see fellow academics and scientists in the knitting world. It makes the knitting world feels a little bit more like home, you know. Here's another really special thing that I was given from a lovely lady who's called Elaine, and I'm going to try to read this. I'm going to try not to open it while I read it, so it's a bit awkward. It says, "Hi Ellie, I'm so glad I found your podcast and it helps me learn so much about colour work and knitting in general. Thank you. I made this little book of record cards to keep in your knitting bag for notes on the move." And she is Elaine at the Crafts Shed on Instagram, in one word. And she's just got these like tag cards. And there's a ring here that you can just attach to projects when you need to have project notes in your bag. And for those of us who have like big notebooks or you know, binders for our projects, this is really handy and portable, and I just thought that was a really nice idea, and I'm so glad to have received this, and I'm gonna try it out. Thank you. It's just like so special to get this note because it's like printed on, you know, it's not just like a quick scribble, it's like really thoughtful. So thank you. I like honestly wish I could spend so much more time on all the things, but this is a very long episode. It's probably 2 hours long. Should I do them in different parts? I don't know. You'll find out when this comes out anyway. And here's a bit of a handful of like stitch markers and teas and whatnot. And this is a bagpipe stitch marker. For a while I was like, this is like a bony hand or something, and then I turned it around and it's a bagpipe, and I love bagpipes. Not like, oh, I love bagpipes. I actually genuinely enjoy listening to bagpipes. Yeah. So this is So Sweet Clover by Eileen Maga. So love time. This is that. And I got a stitch marker from Sticks and Threads, which is this really cute sheep. It's a progress keeper actually. I don't really use progress keepers, but I keep getting them, so I might just start using them. I want to say start using them again, because I think that's the thing I was more concerned with when I started knitting, and I got a bit discouraged because I just found out how slow I knitted, so I'd rather not know. maybe actually, now that I knit faster, it'll be alright. This is Sia Handmade. She gave me a unicorn, or she let me choose the unicorn rather. There's so many lovely progress keepers there, I could hardly decide, but yeah, it had to be the unicorn. And I got the Stitch Marker and Tea and Sweets collection by Mel P3 on Ravelry. There's this little cute stitch marker here, and lots of like this German treats. I think they were German. And lastly, what? I am not usually the recipient of mini skeins, so this is quite the madness, and it's mostly due to just one dyer, but I'll get around to that, just you wait. So first of all, lovely Magdalena gave me this amazing blue skein. She is a Polish hand dyer in Switzerland, and I got to hang out with her, and that was lovely, and she gave me a mini, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. So Wolf and Schaffer Belladonna with the colorway Dylan or Dylon. It's probably Dylan, since that's the name. And I really like it, so aquatic, and yeah. Then I got, oh my, there's a little stranded mini here, which I got after protesting having not been given one yet. And yeah, it's by Amy Florence of the Stranded podcast and Stranded Dye Works Yarns. Gosh, I really hope I haven't gotten anyone mixed up now, but this is Knit Style Yarns, which is a Edinburgh colorway and a Llama colorway. So I think they're both really pretty. I really love the top one, that's really my cup, but they really like complement each other. And so yeah, that was Knit Style Yarn. Thank you so much for giving me 2. And so all the minis I have left now are all from the same dyer, and I'm really glad to have all of these, because seriously, let me tell you about these dyers just briefly. This is Dotted Dye Works, which is Daughter Dye Works or Daughter Yarns, and it's the first hand dyer I've ever heard of from Iceland. And I've like talked to Icelandic knitters for quite some time, and they all pretty much tell me how, well, have told me before, that they don't get hand-dyed yarns in Iceland. If you're in Iceland, you pretty much have to settle with the Icelandic wools and whatever has been imported. And now actually they have a growing hand-dyeing scenes of their own, and it's a gorgeous one. Look at these autumnal minis. That's what I decided to call them anyway. They are gorgeous, and they handed me this paper bag of minis, and me thinking I'm gonna have to choose one, I got the entire bag. Like what? So this amazing purple, this might just be my favorite. It's lovely, and oh my god, I'm just holding these up to not lose the focus. Got these beauties here, and this blue, and oh god, this focus thing isn't going up, and this fluorescent, and look at these two. Oh, I mean, they are as good as they look on camera here. I'm not tricking you with the lights. They really are amazing. So that is Dotted Dye Works for you. I got so many minis, they're all falling on the floor. But yeah, just like give them a round of applause for their generosity and dyeing talent all at once, because this is incredible. I've never had this many minis before from hand dyers. I literally had no idea what to do. Maybe it's time for me to start this like scrap crochet blanket that everyone and their dog are doing. I'm still not quite feeling my cozy memories anymore. Just, yeah, we'll see what I come up with, what I want to do. You know, I'm kind of awaiting the next scrap blanket hype, if there will be one, or maybe the striped blanket is the ultimate one and I just need to give in. I don't know, but regardless, thank you so much. I don't remember if they were 1 person or 2. I feel like they were 2. Why do I? People travel with friends. I can't always tell. But thank you so much. Honestly, very happy to have been given this opportunity to talk about your lovely yarn, because that is incredible. So yes, I've been given so many things, and I'm really like feeling the generosity of people after this trip. Think of last year when I travelled up to Edinburgh. I was all on my own, and it really changed my knitting world. I had the podcast already, you know, but it wasn't a huge thing, and from having just popped up in the odd few podcasts here and there and people checking me out on recommendation, it really has grown my knitting world and kind of potential business. And then having had all of that again lead to future connections and meeting people at the festival, I can't even tell you what that means. It's just really incredible, and I don't know what my life would have been like right now without it. As you know, long-term viewers will know, I've not had the easiest time last year, and it's still kind of affecting me. And it makes such a difference that I have all of this, that I have this experience, this knitting community, that I can be Skeindeer, you know. If I didn't have that, things would be pretty miserable, if I'm gonna be honest. And and that just means the world. I've said that already. There really aren't many other ways to put words to it. It's really hard to put words to. I'm just like trying to express some feels that I'm having and what have you, and gratitude. And shall we move on? This is getting very gushy. So we're in the podcast lock-in. They've essentially put all the podcasters in one room. Let me just show you. I've got some faces you may recognize over here. I may know that face. And that's one. Yeah, you get the idea. It's, we're just in a room. I don't know if anything's happening, but I'd share in case you're wondering what are all those podcasters doing together in that room. Nothing. We don't know either. When we met the next day, it had been snowing. There was snow everywhere. It was so adorable. It was like being at home, like just like properly fell in love with Edinburgh, as if I hadn't already. I mean, it's funny, like I'm not gonna like announce any big moving plans because I don't have any, but I keep talking about moving to Edinburgh. I've done it for a long time and it keeps coming back to me. Apart from some poor insulated buildings and stuff like that, I think I'll be really happy there. Like, compared to here, I'm kind of fed up with London in a way. Been there for 7 years almost, you know, so it wouldn't be so bad to maybe look elsewhere. And I feel like Edinburgh is perhaps the perfect compromise between Norway and London. Has a bit less of the stuff I'm tired of in London, but a lot of the stuff that I really like about London, and a lot of the stuff that I miss about Norway. And it's not too far from the Highlands, and I have good friends in Edinburgh, near Edinburgh. And I'm really genuinely thinking about moving there, but we'll see. Now the next thing that I did at Saturday was just incredible. I was so lucky to get a ticket for Kate Davies' talk on Saturday. I believe she did one on Friday as well. I was too late for that, so I was really glad to have that ticket for Saturday. And I was of course sporting my Miss Rachel cardigan, which is hung right here with a button from Ravelry that's supposed to say Skeindeer, but I can't really type. And yeah, I actually related to that. Those buttons were brought by Jessica, the lady behind Ravelry, who was there and absolutely lovely. That's a side note, just as I remember that. But yeah, the Kate Davies talk was so special. I was mainly just like sitting there and knitting on a sleeve, and I wasn't really thinking. I was just like taking it all in, and yeah, I wasn't really thinking. And then when the first question came, there was like questions after she'd read from a book and talked to us, and it wasn't really a question, it was just this lady expressing just like how much it meant to her with, you know, the development of Kate Davies designs and her patterns and her style, and how she shared her experience with her stroke and designing stuff with us. And it just really hit home. I wasn't like actually prepared to be moved, but I think suddenly as this lady expressed exactly how everyone in the room felt, I was like, oh, this is exactly how I feel. I really would have wanted to maybe ask some questions myself, but I didn't have a voice, you know, so I just sat there and yeah, sucked it all in, and it was really nice. We did have the opportunity to line up and have a chat with her, and a photo and a signed card. I didn't feel like I was quite myself, so just kind of passed on that, which I kind of regret in hindsight, because I'm like one of those really big Kate Davies fangirls. Usually I don't really care for fangirling, for like, you know, putting people up on the pedestal and making them out to be more than what they are, and just like attributing lots of stuff to them just because you like what they do. But you know, with Kate Davies I'm willing to make an exception because the lady is incredible. Like, she had a stroke which like rendered half her brain kind of not really working, and she managed to basically do all the awesome things that she do with one hemisphere. I mean, that is superhuman. But okay, in all seriousness, her aesthetic really speaks to me. I think about little Ellie when she first went on Ravelry and browsed patterns and was expecting to find the other country's equivalents of Norwegian colorwork and traditional designs, and not really finding any of that. I found a lot of stockinette things and garter things, and lots of things that I have since opened my heart and mind up to, but I really couldn't find me until I found Kate Davies designs. And actually her owl sweater became my very first garment knit, although I still, you know, haven't woven in the ends or attached buttons or anything, because that's not a thing I do. But it's really special to me to this day. I mean, the buttons are just for the owl eyes, they're not actually essential. I tied them on the ends. But yeah, I have since done the epistrophe cardigan, and I've obviously done the Miss Rachel yoke and the Miss Rachel gauntlets. What else? I feel like I've done other things as well. I did the owl sweater twice, I believe, and I really like her aesthetic, and I'm very impressed by the things that she has gone through and is still going through, and how she manages to be so productive. And more than that, I mean, I as a rule will buy any pattern publication of hers. That's just how it is. I have actually thought about maybe in bulk review all of her publications that I own. I'll obviously wait until her West Highland Way and autobiography comes out. But if anyone's interested in that, I'd gladly do that, because I have thoughts on all of them and experience with all of them and really like them. Maybe that was my review already, I don't know. But I also really like her pattern writing style. It's clear and concise, which I think is two of the most important things with pattern writing. I don't believe in using too many words to really spoon feed the knitter, but I believe in clarity so that you are not in doubt of what to do. It shouldn't be ambiguous. I think she really hits that sweet spot, and it truly speaks to me as an academic, where clarity and conciseness is really valued. And perhaps that's also why I find this so relatable, because Kate Davies was taking the academic route, and then obviously with the incidence of the stroke, she changed path, which, stroke or not, I think, you know, we're all very glad that she did. And I think she's, well, found that it was really the right decision, regardless of her health situation. I think that speaks to me, because I am at that crossroad myself right now, and feel like maybe while I will complete my endeavors with academia, I don't know what's coming next. If I'm gonna go into a postdoc, I probably will, maybe. You know, it's still too early to knock it, but I also know that I think I'm a better knitting designer than I'm an academic, perhaps. I don't know, thoughts I'm having. And it's just kind of all been spurred by this talk that I was so glad to go to, and I really hope I will get to see more of Kate Davies talks in the future. And I'm very excited to get her upcoming publication soon. And that is enough of my fangirling. I could spend the entirety of the rest of this episode to just go on about her. But yeah, no, let's put the fangirling aside and keep talking about Edinburgh Yarn Festival. I did buy one more skein. This was the last day, the third day out of 3. And I got a Knitting Goddess skein. There's something about Knitting Goddess, I can't not buy it, even though I keep seeing her pretty much all the yarn festivals I go to. It's just a really fun, I believe, self-striping colorway in the BFL nylon. I love my blue face Leicester socks. So, and I seem to be on a bit of a self-striping kick, and I like the colors, so I'm not gonna apologize. And I do think she has a really affordable, fair price rate on her yarns. It's not outrageous, and it's really good stuff. And I love the bases that she uses with collaborations with mills that I really like. So I can't really help myself when it comes to the Knitting Goddess yarns. That's just how it is. Now, this purchase is almost making me blush a little. I have really given in to one of the really big knitting hypes around there. And so for me to sit here and like try to be a bit of a contrarian, sometimes a bit of an opposition to all the trends and hypes, and offer something different. I have succumbed to the fringe hype. They got me hard. And look at the pins. See, I'm coming for you, Kristen. So it's happening. So while I put all my buttons on one bag, I put all my enamel pins on the other. Although some buttons, they were so small they kind of fit in anyway. So I got Camabornia, Yarngasm, and the Edinburgh Podcast Lounge here. I was really excited to find out it was a Yarngasm pin and not a Voolenvine pin. I don't know why, obviously I love both. It's just like, that was really fun, I think. This is my resting knit phase, my croftivist, my garn pin from Blather Garn with their unicorn that says I'd rather knit in Norwegian. And this is the knitting place. I just thought they had a really lovely pin. And Woolly Thistle, which is my favorite American online yarn shop for European yarns. It's a unicorn from Sephora, it's a knitting sheep and unicorn from Knit Picks. There is Sock Talk by the Grocery Girls. It's the Grocery Girls pin. It's the Ninja Chickens pin, La Bien-Aimée pin, and No Drama Llama. I think this is a supposed to recall. I'm gonna have to have that confirmed with them when I see them today, because apparently Edinburgh Yarn Festival hasn't quite left me yet. And lastly, Craftivist and Junk Yarn, which I got from Shellcan and Junk Yarn at Bog Knitting Live. I know, bitten by the bug, big time. And I got the yellow bag from La Bien-Aimée. They are the only ones that sell the yellow fringe bag. And I didn't end up buying any yarns from La Bien-Aimée this time because I am already knitting up the stuff that I have. And I realised, like, I live closer to Paris than I live to Edinburgh. And I've never been to France. So that has to change. So I feel like, whilst wanting to support them, obviously, not that they need my support because they were doing well. And wanted to buy a little something from theirs. And I've clearly gotten a bit bitten with the canvas bag bug lately. I have my polyester bag, I've got my fringe bag now, I have the thimble and thread bag. I keep making my mom make me canvas bags. I'm just like, I'm really bitten by the canvas bag bug. So we knew this was gonna happen, didn't we? We knew that. I have so vague memories of the rest of that day. I was really knackered, and so were my friends, and we were hanging out and just like, we're done. Yeah, it's sad. We went to Aquagirl because it's apparently the only place we know of where we can sit and knit. But the last day I was actually kind of good to go again. A bit tired, I had a rest at Costa and got my coffee, and then my friend Amelia of the Arctic Yarns and Arctic Knitting podcast had a spare ticket for me to Shepherdess. So I thought, I heard about this, I just didn't quite grasp the point of this event, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to go. I was like, well, whatever, I'll check it out. I don't read stuff properly, that's my problem. And I got in and I loved it. It was right up my alley. I honestly wish they would have kicked off the festival with that stuff, because it was just so many, people that make the yarn from sheep to skein essentially, and they were selling their yarn, and it was so amazing to see. And that was yarn that was right up my alley. So I wish I hadn't like shopped out already, because that was more my stuff. So I did get my last 2 skeins there from Daughter of a Shepherd, and I'm thinking saddle mittens in worsted weight yarn. It's been a while since I did that, and I get very excited when I get to see unbleached whites and natural blacks in unison. And so yeah, this is the Ram Jam yarn of hers, and yeah, 150 meters per 50 gram skein, and that's really it. They are just pure wool mixed blend. So I have a feeling there's some Hebridean in this, and this is perhaps a more of a sort of average British sheep, a little bit like the Norwegian white sheep. That's what it reminds me of. So yeah, these are just going to be married into some lovely mittens, and yeah, this is a bit of a treat. But I've always looked for excuses to buy yarn from Daughter of a Shepherd, because I really admire like the stuff that she does and the stuff that she sells, and it's really up my alley. But I haven't really known what to do with it, and this is like my shopping rule: if I don't have an idea for what to do with the yarn, I am not allowed to buy it, because if I did, I would buy all the things. But now I have the excuse, because she's come out with a book with patterns. I even know some of the designers in here, and there's people supporting the project, which is very exciting. And so it covers a lot about what Daughter of a Shepherd is, and patterns you could knit her yarn with, and I'm gonna have to show you some of them because they are amazing. I think everyone fell in love with this cardigan. Like, I mean, yeah, So one day probably get a hold of that. Yeah, also obviously I had to get her tote bag, and that is the last bit of this pile, promise. I'm very glad to say that it all fits on my desk, otherwise I'd be really worried and not sure how I actually managed to bring it all here. But I did, it all fit in my suitcase. Compared to last year, I want to say I did better in terms of the meterage. Like, I didn't get piles and piles and piles of fingering weight sweater quantities and stuff like that. In terms of price, I may have indulged a bit, but I've gotten some really good quality things, so not too sorry about that. It's hard to say whether I did better or worse than last year. In one way or some ways I feel like I did better. It's more yarn that I'm more likely to knit up sooner rather than later compared to last year. Like, you know, buying a certain quantity of ultra yarn is a little bit like, yeah, Ellie, but when are you gonna get around to do that? So it's all here. I got all the things here, and now I need to figure out where it all goes in my room, and think, yeah, it might be time for a bit of a de-stash. But overall, yeah, I really enjoyed the Meter Shepherdess event. I feel like that was maybe a bit under-emphasized. I wish they would have like pushed that a little bit more, but at the same time, actually not. Because it was really lovely that it was really small, and, you know, the Ysolda shop was still open. I was going to talk about that, yes. The Ysolda shop. It was a shop. She didn't have a booth like the other vendors. She had her own shop. And it was incredible. Like, one corner of the shop was essentially a recreation of a Norwegian yarn shop, if you ask me. There was Threipmuir yarn and Hillesvåg yarn all over. I mean, it was incredible. And you got to see and feel lots of the samples that are knitted in Ysolda's designs. There's a whole bookcase of the books that they sell, because they do sell a lot of really, really good knitting books. There's the, you know, the Cyber Mitten book that I really love, and the Japanese stitch dictionaries that I've showed you. I was amazed. There was like seating areas there. It was incredible, and such a variety of yarns, you know, Jill Draper makes and Julie Asselin, and tricky wool, of course, lots of Jamieson's yarn, Jamieson Smith. You could pretty much buy all the Ysolda designs. It was a really, 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 really good booth, and that was still open on the Meter Shepherdess, so I got to come by again, and I nearly bought the Jill Draper make stuff, but I controlled myself. And yeah, the whole Meter Shepherdess event was just nice. And after that, I was more or less done for. I walked into Kathy's Knits once more, where I picked up that deco pattern. I walked about through the old town. So if you don't know, Edinburgh is like the new town and the old town. They're arguably they're both pretty old, but you can definitely tell that the old town is way older. And it's usually where the tourists are dragged to, whereas the new town is more of the newer, more shopping district, a bit more streamlined. The old town is very lovely. I hadn't actually been there before properly, because just last year I mainly walked about the new town, and this time was more of the old town, and it's so quaint and charming, and just, oh, I really like it. I'm really having like an Edinburgh bug something. Yeah, no, I have for a long time thought about moving from London, and I've debated between Oslo and Edinburgh. I don't feel quite ready to return to Norway yet, so I think Edinburgh is the highest candidate for the time being. No promises, just I'm thinking out loud at this point. That's at the level I'm at right now. No plans have been made. I'm just like, I want to, that's all I'm saying. So I had to sit down in a cafe just to kind of regain my strength, and a good old tatty scone haggis bap, or bun, or roll, whatever they call it up there. And I realized I had a dinner date with the lovely Mars and Maria and May and Emilia and Teresa, and so we ate more food, and I ate a big pile of goat cheese because I am me, and then we eventually parted ways, and I went back to my Airbnb to tidy up all my purchases. And next morning I met with my friend May before I headed off to the train station. I had somehow miscalculated the time of the buses a little bit, so I nearly didn't make it there, because the bus I ended up going to kind of drove a bit in sort of S shape. I thought it would go a straight line across Princess Street, and it just kind of went across in all direction. I was panicking a little bit, but I made it. I'm gonna end this video with lots of lovely footage from my train journey back, because we took the coastal route back all the way down to Newcastle and Durham pretty much, and it's just amazing and lovely and beautiful, and the whole like Berwick area is truly stunning. So I kind of want to review the festival a little bit, if you don't mind, just like a quick summary of how I feel about how it compared to last year. And one big major difference, like I don't know how we survived without this last year, was probably why we were so knackered in the end there as well, without being ill. Last year there were so many fewer seating areas. They didn't have the marquee that they had this year, so we didn't really get to sit most of the time. This time we could sit anywhere. There were always free seats about, and the addition of the marquee was genius. I think that was so good. It made a huge difference, so thumbs up to that, Edinburgh. I'm talking as if the whole of Edinburgh has been organising this event. Obviously not the case, you know what I mean. If I'm gonna point out something a bit negative perhaps, is that I still wish they would have food vendors. Like they have bars, like there were at least 2 kind of bar cafe queues where you could get sweet treats like caramel shortbread and scones and soup, ready-made sandwiches and wraps. I'm just like, for 3 days that's not all I want to eat. I wish they had proper food trucks. I'm sure that you could just rent in some and they will stand outside and you can go there and get something fresh and more of a dinner type treat. So if I was going to recommend anything for the people organising this event, is to get some food trucks to stand somewhere near maybe the marquee, so you could actually buy something that's like fresh off the frying pan or something like that. I think that would be really good and definitely help with just surviving, spending whole days at the festival, which is like kind of what you are supposed to do, right? And certainly those of us who are podcasters, who are made to be in the podcast lounge essentially, I mean that's kind of the give and take of us getting free passes, that we're also around for meeting and greeting people. I seem to have like given the impression that I don't want to meet people, because I said in the last episode that I was like, I'm weird. That was just like to warn you guys that maybe, you know, you want to know what to expect from meeting people. It wasn't like it was a way of saying don't come and talk to me, because obviously that's really lovely. I just, yeah, maybe I'm saying that a little bit too late, but you know, there's always going to be next year, so there you go. Thanks for coming up to me and saying hi, it was really lovely. And I'm sorry my voice sounds the way it does and sounded the way it did back then. It's just like, yeah, I was sorry too, believe me. Another, I guess, not negative thing exactly, but I did feel when going to the market that I've seen all this stuff the past year. Not all of it, obviously, I'm exaggerating a bit, but I have been to a lot of yarn festivals, both within the UK and outside, and I felt like I've seen this stuff. I went to Unravel, to Fibre East, to Yarndale, and I have seen all the vendors before. Again, exaggerating when saying all, but it felt like it was a best of UK festivals. So maybe that's the point. I just wish they maybe would emphasize more of the unique stuff that Scotland has to offer. I would really appreciate to see more stuff that you don't see everywhere else. There was obviously more of that last year when Brooklyn Tweed came over and Kate Davis had her own booth, stuff like that, but I think maybe aim more for that kind of thing. It's a big enough festival to go to that level, and so I'd be really excited to see that. Maybe have more of the stuff from the Meet Shepherdess over at the main festival, because that's the kind of thing I have in mind when I go to a festival in Edinburgh, to Scotland. But I can appreciate obviously that Edinburgh Yarn Festival is first and foremost an international yarn festival. So just some thoughts I'm having. I think that would make it more interesting to go back every year if I know that there will be stuff at Edinburgh Yarn Festival that is primarily for Edinburgh Yarn Festival. So I think that's the last thing I have to say about the festival. The extra events were great. The fact that they had set up other knit events in other venues around the days for people who could make it to the big Thursday knit night. There were other knit nights and people couldn't fit into Aqua, you know, there were other venues open for it as well. All of that stuff I thought were really great, even though obviously I couldn't attend them all at once because I don't have the time turner that Hermione has, so that's just the thing. And I really love the Meet a Shepherdess and the big Thursday knit night and the podcaster lock-in. Some thoughts I'm having about the podcaster lock-in. It would be nice if we had maybe some shared activities of sort that were initiated, because in the end we were just hanging and we ended up just talking to the people where we sat next to, and that was really nice. But it would be nice maybe to have some, like, I don't know, ice breaking event or something. Just, I don't know, we're not kids, so we don't need that. It's just some thoughts I'm having. Overall, as I've said, amazing experience, truly incredible week, highlight of the year, and I'm very glad for all the people I met and hung out with and have come up and talked to me, and stuff I've learned, and I think I'm out of words, you guys. I mean, I'll probably be talking about this festival for the rest of the year, so if there's anything I haven't mentioned now, you'll be sure to find out. And I'll see you next week for the usual content, for shorter episodes and stuff I promised I'm gonna cover. Yeah? Alright, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.